Who's got it better than us? Nobody. Welcome to the Franchise Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Jason Revere, and I started the episode off today with a fun little saying from the Harbaugh family, and just want to first off say congratulations to Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines for winning their first national championship in many decades. And Jim Harbaugh's very first as a head coach. Pretty fun game to watch. The differences were pretty startling in the strength and athleticism of the Michigan Wolverines. They just were really overpowered Washington Huskies to the point where they were able to just run all over them. Kind of ran away with the game, scored a bunch early, and the Washington made it a game as they went along. But in the end, obviously the better team prevailed, and it was really cool to see that. I mean, they had a lot of self-imposed issues this year with Jim Harbaugh's and this cheating scandal and all the stuff that happened there, and his multiple suspensions throughout the year, but they pulled it off. And it was really cool to see them do that. And he's a heck of a coach, man. That Jim Harbaugh, and if he ever wants to come to the NFL, I'm sure a lot of different teams will like to have him as their coach. As quirky as he is, he's a heck of a coach. And that's going to be the topic that we focus on today, continuing our study on the entrepreneurial traits that you must have if you want to become a business owner. So if you're listening to this podcast and you have it in your mind that you really want to become a successful business owner, a franchise owner specifically, there are some certain traits that you must have, and we've been talking about those over the last handful of episodes here. And we talked about the idea of being able to see the big picture. That was our last one, and being able to set goals and achieve those goals and being goal-oriented. That was our last episode. We talked about the topic of being fully responsible for your outcomes and not blaming others. That's another really important trait that we've delved into. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, I recommend you go check it out. But we're going to focus today on another entrepreneurial trait, and that is the trait of being coachable. Being coachable, right? When you're going to become a business owner, the buck stops with you. You're at the top of the pyramid. And anything that you say goes in your organization. You have the title of business owner, and so you have the responsibility and the ability to direct everything that goes on in your company, from what the people on the phone are saying when they answer the phone, to how the salespeople perform, and who you hire, who you fire. All of those things are going to be things that you have the utmost control over. What your marketing is going to look like, what your marketing message is, and you're going to have the ability to influence every element of your company. But the idea of being coachable is a really important one when it comes to being able to grow and get further along than you're able to on your own, because just because you're the business owner doesn't mean you have all the answers. And is it okay if I share with you a little bit? I think this is the area that I struggle with the absolute most, is being coachable. Right? We call it pride, call it whatever you want. Right? When you take full responsibility for your outcomes, as we talked about in the previous episode, sometimes that leads you to getting stuck in your own way. And I've been guilty of that as much as anybody. And so, where am I going with this, right? Well, the last episode that we put out, I got some constructive feedback from a person that I trust, and the person I trust the most in this world, and that would be my wife, my lovely wife, Danielle. She listened to my last podcast. She's listened to all of the podcasts, and she's liked a couple of them, but she said to me while we were out grocery shopping the other day, you know what? I didn't really like your last podcast. It was the one that I did on being goal oriented and seeing the big picture. She said, gave me some constructive feedback. Said, I belabored the point. I really kind of danced around what the point was, and it sounded like I was being a little mean-spirited. And boy, initial gut reaction is, oh, no, you're wrong. But if you could take a step back, if I could take a step back and look at it from her point of view, you know what? She was right. Man, I listened to it again. She was spot on. It wasn't very good, and I didn't. I was being mean spirited a little bit. I guess I called somebody a sluggard. I was venting, gotten off the call with a couple of clients that really didn't match what I was looking for out of a client. Had to tell them that they were not yet ready to become a franchise owner, and I was letting my emotions get the best of me. And without constructive feedback and without being coachable, I would have maybe just taken the same tone over and over again and churned out podcasts that nobody wanted to listen to, that nobody got anything out of. Because the reason I'm doing this is to be a resource for people, to help them when they're looking at buying a franchise, to help guide them along the path. And if they don't have maybe some of those traits that we're talking about now yet, giving them some valuable resources to be able to develop those traits. But if you do it from the way I was doing it in the last episode, from a mean-spirited, cantankerous style, it's not going to land, and it's not going to achieve the objective that I want to achieve, which is to, as we've mentioned before, is to help people to declare independence by finding freedom through franchise ownership. And if my content isn't listenable, then how am I going to achieve that goal? So I have taken her feedback to heart, being coachable, trying to learn from my mistakes along the way, hopefully putting out better content going forward. But when you're getting into business ownership, or just getting into any life change, right, you have to approach it from being coachable, because we don't have all the answers. It doesn't matter how experienced you are in business, especially if you're going to start a new franchise in an industry with which you were previously unfamiliar, you must be coachable, because the franchisor is going to have a set of standards, a set of rules, and a whole new way of speaking, a whole new set of jargon and lingo, standard operating procedures, key performance indicators that you need to learn, and maybe sales techniques that you need to learn, marketing strategies you need to learn. And all of these things, you're going to have to be very coachable when you get into business, into this new business, to have the kind of success that you're looking for. And so on that topic today, I've been reading about the different reasons to be coachable in preparation for this podcast, and some of them are going to be very obvious, right? Coaching reinforces the company vision, right? If you could be coachable, you can learn some new things. Being coachable means that you're able to implement best practices and new strategies. For example, there's the new technology constantly coming out, and old technologies that are evolving. And if you're stuck in your ways as a business owner and not willing to listen to the expertise of others who have achieved more than you have, and you're just going to be pig-headed and march forward with nothing ever changing, everything's always my way or the highway, well, eventually you're going to run out of your own creativity and your own abilities, and you're going to get stagnant and potentially even see a detriment to your business and eventually go out of business. And so when you're getting into anything that's going to be new, like a franchise, be certain that you're approaching everything with an open mind. And that's really the best advice that I can give you is see things from other people's point of view, whether it be your clientele, your employees, your team members, the franchisor themselves, and new mandates, new edicts that they're handing down, new best practices that they're going to be implementing. And then from a really vital standpoint these days is the technology side of things. My goodness, if you're stuck in your ways, and by the way, I am. Okay, I am. My wife is always constantly like, yeah, how do you not know this? I don't know. I like to imagine that it's 1997 all the time. and you lament the fact that technology exists, but you know what? If I can just open my mind up, be coachable, I can find new creative ways of utilizing the technology. And I can give you an example. So AI, right? Artificial intelligence, new emerging kind of thing on the forefront of technology these days. It's on the top of everybody's mind that's in the tech space, in the marketing tech space. And uh, we're trying to figure out how to utilize that here with our company, Revolution Franchise Brokers. We're trying to figure out how to best utilize these new technologies and implement that into ways that we can tuck into our current business model without changing everything just because there's a new fancy technology on the block. But it's about learning as much as you can and getting coached by people who have done things that are really impressive with this technology. And so I recently watched a course on how to take text, turn it into video, and then utilize that video to grow the YouTube page that you're trying to grow, which in turn gives you more viewership and more awareness of what you're trying to accomplish. And hopefully you do it enough times, enough lead flow of folks that are looking to buy a franchise and just don't really yet know where to turn. And I can then have the opportunity to serve more people and therefore grow my company. And so that's just one tiny little example of this. And if I'm able to share a little bit more with you, on my background, if you look at anything about me, if you look at my LinkedIn profile page, I recommend you do, by the way, look me up. But I was involved with a franchisor group. Okay, we started a franchise in the home improvement space, and along the way we had some great successes and some challenges as well. But one of our biggest challenges was the fact that we had it in our minds that we didn't want to be coached or given really any feedback by the franchisees. That wasn't necessarily a corporate mandate, but it was just kind of our feeling and vibe. We should bring all the answers to the table, when in reality we should have listened to the franchisees, because they were the ones in the forefront of doing this business, and they were the ones that were operating in multiple different marketplaces throughout the country. And once we really started changing our mindset and listening to them, we were able to make some pretty good improvements to the entire system as a whole that was really benefiting everybody. We started then taking it even a step further, where we did this on a weekly basis. Every Friday we'd get together with the franchisees so we can all share feedback about what was going on the proverbial front lines of the business. Right? What are you seeing in your marketplace? What are you using as far as marketing is concerned to grow your business? Or what sales techniques have you learned? What new technologies have you looked at to help grow your business? And we would flush them out. Obviously, we were the ones that were going to be making the final decision as to whether or not it was going to become a system-wide improvement or overhaul. And we would do that, and slowly but surely you started to see some more cohesiveness and some more buy-in from the things that we were sending down from on high to the franchisees, and we were starting to see some real results from that. Coaching is another element of accountability, right? When you're stuck in your ways, you don't really have accountability. But when you can have accountability, and this goes for every walk of life, doesn't it? I mean, look at all the people out there that struggle with certain things, maybe personally, like maybe nutrition or fitness or weight loss or anything like that. And you see all the success stories of people who have accountability partners. They keep them, hold them accountable to that, right? That's what I'm utilizing my wife for in this situation here. Is just, hey, listen to my podcast, provide some feedback to me, hold me accountable. By the way, hold me accountable to doing them in the first place, because I could just sit back and not do these, which, if you're listening, maybe you're wishing that I had. But when you have an accountability partner in that equation, whether it be a business partner or a spouse or just a friend, a mentor, somebody you can rely on, they can do things that you can set your goals, as we talked about in the last episode, making sure you've got goals. Let's say you want to earn $200,000 this year, and you've got $100,000 of salary, you've got to add another $100,000 of stuff, and there are certain action steps that you can take to get there. Well, finding an accountability partner to help coach you along the way and hold you accountable can help you to continue to grow and achieve those goals that you set for yourself. Anyway, I digress. That's a lot of stuff to say about being coachable, but that is one of the cornerstones of being a good entrepreneur. And as I've learned throughout my time as doing this, is being quite coachable, being very receptive to feedback, and that way you can continue to grow and strengthen those relationships between you and your accountability partners. So it's a win-win. Do it. Be coachable, and you're going to be able to find the success that you want to find as an entrepreneur. So that is the trait of the day that we're going to talk about today. But as part of my being coachable, taking feedback, is I want to give back a little bit here and become a little bit more helpful. Instead of just talking in the existential or in the theoretical, let's talk about practical. Okay, so this is going to be a new segment. This is going to be our franchise review. We're gonna share with you today a franchise that exists out here that likely you've never heard of before, that may be a good fit for some of you out there who are listening to this. And so we're going to talk about that. If you want to hear more about that, if you want to get the name of the franchise and learn a little bit more about what this franchise looks like, go ahead and hit our website, revfran.com, fill out one of the forms on there, and we'll reach out to you to discuss this further, because I'm prohibited from sharing the actual name of this franchise. But that being said, if you want to learn more about it, reach out to us. But the franchise that we're going to discuss today, it is in the services space. I'm a big believer in the services brands. Number one, they're always a lot more cost effective. You can get in for a much lower investment, and then your overhead is substantially lower than they would be if you were operating a food franchise where you've got lots of inventory and lots of employees and a brick and mortar, lots of overhead. Whereas if you start a service franchise, a lot of times you can be home-based, and you can do it with very little employees and very little inventory. And the reason another one of the reasons I like home services is, I'm going to phrase it this way for you. It is a sell then buy type model, right? Where you sell the service or the product, and then you buy it and then deliver it, whether it be installed, just work completed, whatever it looks like. So instead of carrying large amounts of inventory, you're able to sell then buy, whereas retail, food, it's always buy then sell. So a lot of your capital is tied up in inventory, and that makes it a lot more difficult to be profitable, especially early on in the business. And so that's why I really like service-based franchises in general. Now, that being said, there's some not great ones. Don't take that as an industry-wide type of a statement, but in general, they can be a lot more profitable and a lot more cost-effective with a much higher return on initial investment. But the franchise today that we're going to talk about, it is in the services space. Okay, it has a B2B and a B2C component. It means business to business and a business to consumer component to it. So you're able to serve two different segments of the population, businesses and consumers. Okay, this product, though, that you're going to be offering and the service that you're going to be providing, this franchise actually holds the patent on one of the products and services that you're going to be able to offer in this franchise. It's a really cool thing. I don't want to get too much into the details of it, because you may be able to look it up and find it, and then you're going to be able to cut me out of the equation. Who wants that, right? But again, they do own the patent on it. So when you get into business, no one in your service area will ever be able to offer the same thing that you're able to offer. It is a high profit business. Okay, we're talking roughly 25% net profit on operating this business. Okay, so write that number down, 25% net profit. So if you do $100,000, that's 25 grand of net profit. Don't only do $100,000 though, because this business is highly scalable. It's a single investment, scalable type business. So you can invest once, get your territory, and then you can continue to grow that territory month after month, year after year, so long as you're willing to invest into the marketing and to grow your footprint in that area and take as much market share as you possibly can. The initial investment is roughly between $70,000 and $90,000, depending on if you want to do it semi-passive or be a fully active owner operator of that business. So you're going to need additional working capital if you are planning on being the semi-passive route where you hire a manager to do this business. This franchise does offer some really great incentives for minorities. It's a $10,000 off of the initial franchise fee, which is only $20,000 to begin with. But they will waive the entire franchise fee for veterans. And so you can get in with a $0 franchise fee. Pretty cool, right? But again, all in, you got to get your vehicle, get it wrapped, and then the initial marketing expenditure and about 3 months of working capital, plus any territory fees or anything like that. You'll be looking at anywhere between $70,000 and $90,000, or maybe a little bit more if you really want to go and hit the marketing really hard and hire a really high-end general manager to run your business. You may need a little bit more working capital, but that's a good number to stick with there. Their average ticket is somewhere in the neighborhood of about $5,000, and so you're going to be able to every time you make a sale, it's about $5,000 of revenue coming into that company. So you don't need many sales to make a really substantial business out of this franchise. And let's talk about some other reasons why this franchise is one of the best that I see from a cost perspective and from an ongoing expenses perspective, and that is going to be their royalty structure. So royalties, for the most part, in most franchises, range anywhere from 5% of top line sales all the way up to about 7 to 9% of top line sales. Some of the senior care franchises are all the way up to 15%, and they have a good reason why. But understand that that's really usually what the royalty structure looks like. And a royalty is when you're paying the franchisor on an ongoing basis, either weekly or monthly, to be a part of the organization, right? And that's how they make their money. That's how they provide the support that you're going to need to grow your business. So the royalties usually fluctuate from 5 to 15%. This franchise has done a really unique thing. It's not exclusive to them, but it's very unique. They have a fixed royalty. Okay, so this franchise has a fixed royalty, and it starts at $400 per month starting after your third month in business. So you don't pay anything for the first 3 months. After the third month in business, it's $400 a month for the royalty. That's exceedingly low. Okay, after your first year in business, it goes up to $800 and goes up in increments of $400 per month every month for the next for the first 4 years, and it caps out at $1,600 per month. $1,600 per month is the most that you will pay in royalties to this franchise. That doesn't exist anywhere else. So your royalties are very, very low. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be providing a lot of support, because they handle the marketing. They're going to be doing all the training, all of the business coaching, as we talked about on this episode, being coachable, right? All of the stuff that you need out of a full, robust franchisor, they're going to be able to do, but they're going to do it for a substantially lower amount of money than really any other franchise is on the market today. And it is a very simple product and service that you're offering. It doesn't require any sort of skilled labor or anything like that. You're going to be hiring somebody that just their only skill set that they really need to have is they've got to be detail oriented, and they've got to be able to be very, very customer service centric. Okay, if they can be nice and look nice when they show up at either a home or a business, and have some sort of good eye for detail, they're going to be able to do the things that you need them to do. And you're going to be able to service a ton of people with a very, very small workforce. And there are franchisees in this franchise that are doing multiple millions of dollars a year, paying $1,600 a month at full scale at four years in to the franchisor, who handles all of the marketing, all the technology, all of the product innovations, everything is being taken care of. It's your business, their system. It is a really great franchise opportunity for anybody out there looking to get into business ownership. And really, this is tailor-made for first-time business owners, first-time franchisees, because it's so simple. It is so widely needed, this product and service, and it is so niche that you are going to be the only person who's able to offer at least one of the product lines that you offer. I've had a couple clients actually this year or last year purchase buy into this franchise, and they're doing really great things. So again, that's the franchise of the week or of the episode. I don't know if I'll do this multiple times, but a week. But that's our franchise. If you want to learn more about that, give us a call, hit us up on our website, and we'll get that taken care of for you. And then we're going to wrap it up with the Learning Center today. So we talked about being coachable, right? One of the ways you can be coachable, you don't necessarily have to be coached by an individual that you know. You can be coached by anybody, right? Anybody you can find that they've produced some sort of educational material on, you can get your hands on it and become a student of what they're an expert in. And just recently went through the book that I'm going to recommend here today for like probably the third or fourth time that I've gone through this book. And this is great for anybody who is in the profession of sales or who wants to learn more about selling specifically high ticket sales. Okay. So that's what this book is. And the book I'm going to be talking about here is a book called Spin Selling. The author is Neil Rackman, and he's a researcher and a sales professional, and they put together a really comprehensive book on what it takes to be a really good large ticket salesperson. And large ticket, the definition can vary, but think anything from computer systems to companies to marketing for companies. Technology of different kinds, maybe marketing technologies or SaaS or anything that's going to be large ticket enough to require, maybe multiple decision makers. Okay. Or maybe if it's a single decision maker, it's going to be like something they need to take a loan out for. Okay. And so it's going to be those large ticket, maybe longer selling cycle type, sales processes. And the book's called Spin Selling. Spin is an acronym: situation, problem, implication, and needs. Needs improvement. And that's what the acronym stands for. But you learn a lot about what it takes to ask the right questions at each stage of the sales cycle to avoid objections, to make the sales more often, and without using goofy, outdated closing techniques that may have worked, 30, 40 years ago before the internet existed and people could just do their own research, right? And people buying large ticket stuff don't really want to be pressured. So I hate to tell that to the heavy closers out there, but if you're going to be a strong salesperson in these large ticket, long sales cycle type selling cycles, you're going to need some skills. So as far as being coachable, and in our Learning Center today, the book Spin Selling by Neil Rackman, go ahead and pick it up, and you'll get better at least one element of the things that you probably need to be pretty good at to run a business. So that's going to be our episode today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, as always, you liked it, you didn't like it, go ahead and subscribe and leave me a review, please. We really appreciate that. And we'll be out again on Friday with another episode, continuing our study on the entrepreneurial traits that everybody would need in order to start a business and be successful as a business owner. We'll catch you on the next episode. Be excellent.